Greetings to everyone. During my recent trip to Amsterdam, I had a chance to visit Pathe de Munt Dolby Cinema. I was very curious to experience Dolby Cinema in another country and compare it with my favorite West End Dolby Cinema in London. I can tell you straight away that I was not disappointed and I am ready to share my observations with you. Before I start, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to this channel, follow me on Instagram, or even consider supporting future videos on Patreon. All links are included in the description. I'm always trying to provide as much technical details as possible in my reviews. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do that in this video. The reason for this is that all speakers were hidden behind acoustically transparent fabric in this particular cinema. So this review will be based purely on my impressions and observations. Let's start from the beginning. Pathe de Munt is located right in the center of Amsterdam, easily accessible by tram or by foot. This cinema opened its doors in 2000. However, Screen 1 was converted into Dolby Cinema in 2017. For me, the main entrance looked disproportionately narrow for such a huge building, but who I am to judge architectural decisions? As soon as you enter the building and buy or get your tickets checked, you find yourself in the middle of a huge retail area. Selection of snacks and various drinks is truly impressive. You have to use an escalator to get to the upper level, where most of the screens are located. They have not only Dolby Cinema here, but another 12 screens, one of which is 4DX. The old mechanical film projector helps to create a really cozy atmosphere in the foyer. I believe that it's quite common for Dolby Cinema to let viewers pass through a long corridor with movie scenes projected on its wall before they reach the auditorium. This auditorium has 13 rows in total. Most rows have 20 seats in them, so total capacity is 240 seats. It is an optimal size for a cinema, in my opinion. Auditorium size of the West End Dolby Cinema in London is very similar. Even though these are standard cinema seats, they are quite comfortable. I was pleased that the gap between rows was big enough even for a tall person like me. As I have mentioned earlier, walls and the ceiling are finished with black acoustically transparent fabric. For me personally, it looked as if something was missing. I would have preferred to see surround and overhead speakers exposed. Every possible surface here was black or dark gray. It might not look super exciting, but most surfaces must be as dark as possible. It is necessary to keep light reflections inside the room to a minimum. Only this way a stunning contrast ratio can be achieved. Walls of the auditorium were decorated with blue LED lights, and the same blue LEDs were installed around the screen. It looked quite nice, but for some reason these lights remained on during the trailers, which was a bit distracting. Every movie can sound very differently, so in order to build a more comprehensive opinion about the cinema, I have watched 4 movies there. By the way, Spider-Man No Way Home was the first movie that I saw in 3D in Dolby Cinema. Unfortunately, my glasses were not really clean and only made a perfect Dolby Vision projected image look smudged. I also choose a different seat for every movie, as it also affects your perception. At this moment, Dolby Cinema is the only way to watch movies with high dynamic range in public cinema. By the way, digital cinema initiatives have introduced a new HDR standard for public cinemas just recently. It will take years to roll out the new standard, so for now, Dolby Cinema is the only option to enjoy HDR image. The screen size is great, it takes up almost the whole front wall and perfectly matches the size of the auditorium. To achieve such a stunning picture quality, Dolby uses a dual projector system in their cinemas. Thanks to that, the black areas of the frame looks truly black. Therefore, bright moments such as explosions can make you squint. That's how bright they are. However, sometimes it can become a slight issue. In the Netherlands, movies are mostly shown in English with Dutch subtitles. While I was watching Batman, the darkest Batman movie yet, those subtitles were really distracting as their brightness was not adjusted to match the average brightness of the scene. As I expected, Dolby Cinema sounded great. Detailed and crystal clear sound, very well balanced sound spectrum except a tiny lack of lower frequencies. And overall sound volume was slightly lower compared with what I heard in both Dolby Cinemas in London. Localization of sound objects was also top-notch. You can slightly adjust how much of the surround and overhead speakers you will be able to hear by choosing seats closer or further away from the screen. It purely depends on your preferences. Anyway, choosing Dolby Cinema always guarantees you the best possible experience, while conventional cinema is always a gamble. I would love to provide you with more technical details, but I am unable to do that as the sound system is completely hidden from the public. In the last few years, consumer electronics evolved quite rapidly. Now almost every home has a big or sometimes huge TV screen, which is 4K and HDR capable. Soundbars are hugely popular these days. Some people are even installing proper home cinema systems. Easy access to this technology made people watch movies at home more often. To compete, modern cinemas have to offer something more. In my opinion, Dolby Cinema together with IMAX does offer an ultimate cinematic experience. Don't stay at home, find a good cinema in the area you live in and watch the latest movies there. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this review. If this is the case, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Goodbye.